What I think is happening is I think there are fake people on the payroll. I think that paychecks are getting sent to people who do not really exist.
Guys, so a week before Charlie lost his life, he expressed some concerns about the finances at Turning Point USA.
Erica Kirk is said to be under intense pressure as financial backers connected to Turning Point USA begin demanding refunds. Several contributors are now publicly claiming they were misled. When a movement that depends heavily on trust starts hearing its own followers ask what happened to their donations, the situation quickly turns serious. This reaction didn't appear overnight, and the growing concern is now creating a deeply awkward moment for everyone involved.
That's a major issue, right? And that's where I started realizing a lot of this money in these nonprofit organizations are going in and out.
Reports from several insiders suggest that Turning Point USA's finances were once being closely examined, with quiet chatter inside political circles that the numbers didn't quite make sense. Then, without much explanation, the scrutiny faded away, leading many to believe the silence may have been influenced by Erica's long-standing relationship with Donald Trump. Their history stretches back years, including her time in the pageant world where she won Miss Arizona during a period when Trump controlled those competitions, which is why claims about her access to powerful connections aren't seen as baseless. After Charlie's death, those relationships became even more significant, especially as large sums of money began pouring in and online discussions started questioning TPUSA's financial transparency. High-profile figures, including Candace Owens, openly encouraged contributors to request refunds, and surprisingly, some everyday donors actually followed through, something rarely seen from a base usually known for strong loyalty. The concern was fueled by the fact that since Charlie passed away, TPUSA has reportedly brought in millions of dollars, much of it from unnamed sources, making it impossible to trace who gave what and naturally raise an alarm when massive funds lack clear attribution. At the same time, Erica herself was also receiving substantial financial support, with close to $10 million coming in through donations and fundraising efforts alone, separate from income tied to books, media agreements, and other deals connected to Charlie's brand. Added to that was a life insurance payout estimated at roughly $10 million, benefiting Erica and the children, along with proceeds from selling their Arizona property for $5.25 million, which left about $2 million in cash after the mortgage was cleared. When combined, the insurance, home sale, and public donations already place her in possession of a significant fortune. The largest single fundraising push involved Tucker Carlson's nicotine pouch company, Yelpy, which generated approximately $5.4 million through GiveSendGo, including a $1 million contribution from the brand itself, followed by additional support from groups such as Friends of the Kirk Family, Liberty Memes Foundation, and Glenn Beck's 912 Initiative. In contrast, Charlie's final year salary at TPUSA was around $390,000, and colleagues have said leadership had to persuade him to accept increases, suggesting he wasn't motivated by maximizing personal income. Now, with Erica stepping in as CEO, expectations are already forming that her compensation could match or exceed that figure, especially given that her approach appears different from Charlie's. Beyond that role, she now oversees his for-profit ventures, including Resolute Media Group and Charlie Kirk LLC, which handle consulting work, meaning she inherited not only his legacy, but control over an entire commercial operation. This is where donor discomfort intensifies, as supporters begin asking why TPUSA continues aggressive fundraising, when Erica already has access to millions from multiple sources. Some contributors now say they feel misled, while online speculation proven, but persistence suggests she may be independently directing funds, possibly even moving money overseas, fueled by the lack of transparency surrounding these finances. Compounding the skepticism, details from Erica's past are surfacing, including claims she was not fully truthful about her dating history, questions around founding a charity at age 17, and signs that the public image she's cultivated over time doesn't always align with reality, all of which are adding to the unease surrounding the situation.
We all have angels in our lives, and these are my little angels from Antonio Placement Center in Constanța, Romania.
Listen.
Our goal with the Romanian Angels Project was to show these children the true American heart during the holiday season. And what better way to do that than having our United States military personally deliver the gifts?
After Charlie passed away, her presence across media platforms became constant, with appearances on television, podcasts, interviews, and press stops happening nearly every day. Each time, she appeared visibly emotional, often in tears, which led some online critics to claim she was exaggerating that grief, even suggesting she used product to trigger crying during recordings. Whether those claims hold any truth or not, the very existence of such accusations highlights the level of skepticism and lack of confidence many people now have toward her.
It was for her to go on this media tour. All it has done is confirm for those of us who were holding on with a smidgen bit of benefit of the doubt that this woman was genuine. Out the window. We cannot unsee what...
At this point, you have uneasy contributors, a group that was reportedly facing financial scrutiny, and one person who now holds full control at the center of the situation. As more details surface, the same question keeps coming up. Did Erica simply step into what was left behind, or did she manage to turn Charlie's passing into a revenue stream? Many supporters are beginning to believe their donations may not have gone toward what they originally intended, and once confidence starts to collapse, problems tend to escalate quickly. The term fraud gets mentioned frequently in discussions about Erica, but to understand why donors are so alarmed, it's important to examine how money could realistically move without clear visibility. When those channels become clear, it's easy to see why some people want to distance themselves from TPUSA. One of the first areas to look at is promotion and branding, where funds can be spent without drawing attention. Online teams, paid advertising, production crews, public relations efforts, and crisis management all require significant budgets. Yet donors have no real way to know whether those expenses are reasonable or inflated, since they're often grouped under broad labels like outreach. Beyond that, Erica has also been actively selling and distributing branded items such as hats and hoodies at appearances. The expenses tied to merchandise can also be padded, covering manufacturing, shipping, creative work, and promotion, with no transparency for outsiders to verify what those items truly cost. Another place money can flow is through compensation to individuals within the inner network, including employees, presenters, guest speakers, and event hosts. One example often mentioned is Erica's former partner, Cat Phillips, who has taken on roles hosting and speaking at Turning Point USA gatherings. He is now listed as a TPUSA speaker and participated in several events dedicated to Charlie's legacy, including a December 2025 program titled How to Lead Like Charlie. Appearances like these involve speaker payments, airfare, lodging, and related costs. Yet when reviewed on financial records, everything simply appears as standard event activity.
Erica Kirk's ex is now the speaker for Turning Point. Cabot Phillips, the editor of the Daily Wire, the outlet that actively had beef with Charlie. The same Daily Wire that went and took over the Charlie Kirk show for a cameo 6 days after he was assassinated. Not only is this guy Erica's ex, but while Erica was dating Cabot already knew.
Beyond that, there are outside service providers connected to individuals close to those in charge, which is the area that often draws the most quiet speculation. A nonprofit is allowed to contract companies for things like merchandise production, event management, printing, technology services, travel arrangements, and more, and those businesses can be owned by friends, family members, or trusted associates. While this setup isn't automatically unlawful, it provides a way for funds to circulate without being directly labeled as personal compensation. Added to this are expenses related to living arrangements, protection, transportation, and administrative needs, which create a steady but less visible outflow. Executive housing, security details, airfare, lodging, drivers, office facilities, and event logistics are typically grouped under operational costs. Some of those expenses are legitimate, but that category also offers room for budgets to expand without donors ever seeing detailed explanations. So when people online ask where the money went, they're not imagining hidden cash stockpiles. They're thinking about this network of perfectly legal charges that, when combined, can support very comfortable lifestyles for those at the top. That's why so many contributors are starting to feel uneasy, because the donations were made with the belief they were backing Charlie's original vision. Yet those same funds are now being routed through a very different version of TPUSA, with new salaries, fresh contracts, and shifting goals. It becomes clear why supporters are choosing to step away.